So in this video I'm going to be going over game 4 from Prep Test 75. This one's a little bit odd. It's kind of got a bit of a twist to it. It's an unusual game. Okay, so each issue of a business newsletter has 5 slots numbered 1 through 5. So we have an issue has 5 slots, 1 to 5. Okay. The policy of the newsletter requires that there are at least 3 features per issue. 3 features. And each issue completely occupies 1 or more of the slots. So each feature is a minimum of 1 slot. And then each feature can be one of 4 types. So now we have 4 types for the features. So we can have finance, industry, marketing, or technology. And any slot not containing a feature, so if not a feature, then it's got a graphic in it. And if it doesn't have a graphic in it, then it must have a feature in it. Okay. Any feature occupying more than 1 slot must occupy consecutively numbered slots. So we know that an individual feature could occupy several slots, right? It just has a minimum of 1. But if it does, then it has to be consecutively numbered. So we could have a feature that occupies slots 1 to 3, another feature, feature 2, that occupies slot 4, and another one that occupies slot 5, for example. But what we can't have is a feature that spans slots, or that non-consecutive slots, right? So we can't say that like slot 2 contains a graphic and then slots 1 and 3 together are feature 1. We're going to continue moving through. So this would be like in that magazine, like we're not going to have a story broken up by an image. We're going to have it text carry through. So we can think of the slots as pages in a magazine, and just understand that the stories are always going to be continued on the next page. And so stories would be equivalent to features in that example. Okay. If an issue has any finance or technology feature, so if we have finance or technology, then a finance or technology feature must occupy slot 1. So F is in 1 or T is in 1. And if we don't have F in slot 1 and we don't have T in slot 1, then that means F is out and T is out. And an issue can have at most 1 industry feature. So a maximum of 1 industry feature, or sorry, 1 industry, lowercase for those, industry feature per issue. Okay. So that's kind of interesting, right? We might have assumed that we have to have 1 of each type of feature, but this sort of suggests to me, no, actually we don't. If they have to include a maximum of 1 for a particular type of feature, then they must not have instituted a maximum of 1 or an exactly 1 limit on any of the others. So even if up until that point we were kind of making a false assumption, with this rule we should kind of check ourselves and go, oh, okay, I guess that means that we can have multiple features of the same type. So I could have finance feature number 1, finance feature number 2, finance feature number 3, potentially. So yeah, so that's kind of what we've got here. We have a lot of categories of information. I think that's what makes this game so difficult. And then just the unknowns in terms of like the distribution of the features, and do we even have any graphics? Doesn't look like we actually need to have graphics. So yeah, it's an unusual game, and there's quite a bit of information to process through the blurb. So I'll just do the first question. Okay, so question 19. Okay, and so I'm going to do what I would typically do with the first question, and that's just go rule by rule. Starting, I like to start with the easiest rule to apply and find the rule breaker for that one, and then go on to the next easiest, and then by the time that we're applying the hardest rule, we should only be choosing between 2 or 3 answer choices, so we don't actually have to apply it to all 5. Okay, so I think this is probably the easiest one. If we have more than one industry feature, then we can eliminate. So A, we have an industry feature, and then we have a second industry feature. So A is problematic. Okay, so one thing to note about C is that C contains a single industry feature that occupies more than one slot. Okay, so it's one industry feature per issue, not that an industry feature can only occupy a single slot. Okay, so C is fine. C does not break that rule. Same with D. D's fine. Okay. If F or T is in there, then F or T has to be first. So I'm going to find one where we don't have F or T first, and then F and T should be out. So the first one we have F first, the second one we have a graphic first, and then we have some technology features, so that's not allowed. So B is out. Then let's see, we need consecutive slots, right? So this was our consecutive rule. Okay. So I'm just going to look for the numbers at this point and see if there are any where it occupies more than one slot and those numbers are not consecutive. And I see that with E. So we have slots 2 and 4 occupied by a feature. That's not allowed. 2 and 4 are not consecutive. 3 features. So what have we got? We've got C and D. So industry, marketing, finance, technology, industry, finance, graphic. Oh, so C is out because it also breaks this rule here. Right, so we have industry first and then we have finance last. But if finance is in, then finance or technology has to be first, not industry. So D is the correct answer, and I'm going to write this one out. So the slot 1 is a technology feature, 2 and 3 are an industry feature, 4 is a finance feature, and 5 is a graphic. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that's acceptable. All right, so hopefully that helps. Why don't I do one more? So, yeah, I'll do 22. All right, if in a particular issue, slot 1 is occupied by the only industry feature in that issue, so 1, an industry feature, and it's the only one in the issue, which, there's, a max of 1 industry feature per issue, then which one of the following is required for that issue? So if F and T are not, if neither of them is first, then we can't have F and T. So F and T are out, but we still need to have 3 features in this issue. So the rest of the features are going to have to be marketing features. And there are a lot of different ways, even within these 4 slots, that we could distribute marketing features. So we could have M1 and M2 each occupy a single slot, and that could be slots 2 and 3, slots 3 and 4, slots 4 and 5, or slots 2 and 4, 2 and 5. It keeps going and going. Not exactly endless possibilities, but a lot of possibilities. So here, because this is a must be true question, right? Which one of the following is required for that issue rather than what's possible for the issue, but what must be true for this issue. It's probably better to do a bit of a falsification kind of method. So is it possible that A could be false? So A, there's an industry feature that occupies slots 1 and 2 and only those slots. No, it's entirely possible that the industry feature is just slot 1. Same with B, could be just slot 1. So A and B both could be false. C, there's a marketing feature that occupies slot 2 or 3 or both. So possible, but it's entirely possible that we completely skip 2 and 3 and we just do 4 and 5, and slots 2 and 3 are graphics. So C could be false. D, there's a marketing feature that occupies 1 or more of slots 2, 3, and 4. So there's no way that we can completely avoid those 3 slots because each feature has to occupy a minimum of 1 full slot, right? So we can't just like divide the last one into 2. That's not going to work. So D has to be true. We can't create a solution where that's false. And then E, there's a marketing feature that occupies slot 3 or slot 5 or both. And we could have marketing in 2 and another marketing feature in 4, and these could be graphics, and that would be fine, and we would avoid both 3 and 5. So E is out. That could be false. So because this could be true, E could be false, and we know for sure that D is the correct answer. Under time pressure, when you find the correct answer, take a moment to confirm it, but then choose it and move on. Don't worry about doing process of elimination for every single question. I do like to do process of elimination for the first question because if I've made a mistake and I've misinterpreted the rules somehow, then at least I'm giving myself a full opportunity with that question to catch the mistake before I do like the whole game and realize that I'm, usually it's going to go a lot slower, right? That the answer choices aren't going to be as obvious, and so you're not going to be moving as fast if you've misinterpreted something. But sometimes you can get a few questions in and then realize your mistake and you have to go all the way back. So if you take a little bit of extra time with that first question, which is typically easier anyways, then you give yourself a chance to make sure you're interpreting things right. Okay. If you have any questions about this, you want me to do any of the other questions that I didn't demonstrate, just let me know.